Welcome to Real Talk, Real Wellness with Alicia. Today we're back with the Wellness Seat, the space where I invite women working within the wellness industry and those with inspiring wellness journeys to share their real stories and insight. And today's guest is someone whose work truly reflects what it means to glow from the inside out. She's a licensed esthetician and health coach, helping women nurture themselves mindfully, embrace their journey, and live their vibrant life at any age. Shannon, welcome to the Wellness Seat.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to have you here. It was quite a complex journey getting here, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. We had some roadblocks, but I'm happy to be here.
But you're here and I'm very grateful. So, Shannon, can you start by introducing yourself and sharing a little bit about what you do and what led you into the world of wellness and healing work?
Yes, Alicia. First of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity for inviting me, and I'm so excited to be here. So my name is Shannon White, and I am a licensed esthetician and a health coach and a juice therapist. And what led me to do what I'm doing now, it kind of started when I had my wax studio. And because I am a licensed esthetician, I would have my clients ask about, my skincare routine and all of that. And it was always hard for me to just give them one thing. Like, it's not just one skincare product or it's everything. It's like, your mind, your body, your spirit, how you care for everything from the inside out. And when I started to, think about it, I was like, well, listen, I'm on to something here because I have to teach my clients how to care for their skin. But like I said, it's more than just skincare. And that's how Glow Goddess Lifestyle began. That's how it began. That's when the seed was planted, when I was getting all of these questions and inquiries. And I would tell them, I do yoga, I work out, I try to eat clean, and that's where it started.
Okay. So so the Glow Goddess lifestyle. You talk about glowing from the inside out. What does that
Yes.
personally mean for you?
That means that when you take care of your mental
Mm-hmm.
and your spiritual well-being, then it emanates from the inside out because it all starts with your mindset. You can use all of the creams, do all the things, go to the dermatologist, have your monthly appointments with your esthetician. But if your mind is not right and if your spirit is uneasy, it's going to reflect,
Yeah.
it's going to reflect. And so that's what I mean about glowing from the inside out. When you're truly happy with yourself, I'm not saying everything's perfect,
Mm,
but when you're truly happy with where you are at your stage in life, it
mm.
reflects on the outside. So you have like a glow that no skincare product can even can even produce because it's from the inside out. And so your skincare regimen is just the cherry on top.
Yeah. I 100% agree. It's holistic, isn't it?
It really
It's
is.
whole person focused. Um,
Yes.
because when you I think sometimes it's funny because I was just talking with my husband a little while ago and we were talking
Mhm.
about um aging.
Yes. And we are, it's a blessing to age.
Okay, so that was the conversation we were having, and I was saying to him that I wouldn't want to necessarily look like a 20-year-old at 50, 52. You know,
Right. That's
I
just not even natural.
that's not natural, right? Exactly. It's not natural and it's not necessary. We shouldn't have to want to be in that situation. I think
Mhm.
it's more about being healthy at your age. and less focused on, yes, how we look, but how we feel, how we
Yes.
feel, you know. So I'm so in alignment with you when you talk about glowing from the inside out. For me, when I it's how I feel, and it's also having a functional body. You know, I want
That's
my body to do what it's designed to do effectively. And with the skin,
mhm.
it's a protective barrier, isn't it? So I
That's
want it
right.
to do the best job that it can possibly do in protecting me and maintaining my life.
That's right. And the one thing that we've been led to believe is that
Mhm.
as we age, we're supposed to be on medications. We're
Oh
supposed to
gosh.
have our bodies broken down. We're
Yeah.
supposed to have diabetes, high blood pressure, all of these things. And that is just not true.
Mm,
And like you said, it's not about looking 20 forever because that's just not realistic.
no,
I feel like the wrinkles and you know, the subtle signs of aging tells your story. And
absolutely.
so, but as long as we're taking care of our bodies, moving our bodies, taking care of our mindset, cultivating a spiritual relationship with, God, the creator, the universe, whomever you believe in, that higher power, that is what is going to enable us to age gracefully, age vibrantly, and still be able to, play with our grandkids or go for a walk or, just enjoy getting up off the sofa and not having to be in a walker or a wheelchair.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you talk about cultivating a positive mindset
Mm-hmm.
and resilience. What practices help you to stay mentally balanced and grounded, especially when life gets a little hectic?
Lifing. Yeah.
Yeah, when life behind, yeah, when it's lifing.
Mhm. Yes, yes. Well, first of all, I want to say, that I'm not always, things aren't always positive. I'm not walking around here with the grin on my face, 24/7. That would be weird.
Yeah.
But I will say that when um, I think it starts with a strong spiritual life, connection. I'm not saying go to church, every Sunday, Bible study. Listen, I grew up in that lifestyle. And I'm going to tell you now, there were people in the church that were just not right. So I'm not, trying to promote that.
Of
But
course.
what I do is um, I have affirmations. I
Yeah.
meditate. I
Mm-hmm.
meditate
Mm-hmm.
every morning before I get out of bed. I meditate every night before I go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And I have affirmations, that I tell myself, throughout the day. But what I've realized is that you can't just tell yourself affirmations. And if you're not happy and you're saying, I am happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, but
Mm,
you're just kind of going through the motions, that's really not going to do anything for you.
no, no.
You have to really cultivate a spirit of gratitude,
Mm,
and then you'll realize that, hey, things really aren't that bad, considering, I'm in my right mind. I woke up this morning, and I think as long as you wake up in the morning, you have that opportunity to make it a great day. There's,
absolutely. Yeah.
any little thing, the sun is shining or it's raining. Okay, it's raining, but you know what? We need the rain because the flowers come after the rain. So it's all about perspective.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I'm so much in agreement with that as well, because
Yeah,
I too have a similar morning routine. And
yes,
gratitude is a big part of it. And you know, there
yes,
are even studies that show when you are grateful for what you do have, you just receive more.
yes,
When you
yes.
focus on the positive, now I'm not one of those people that is into positive psychology. That's not my
Hmm.
thing, because we know life be lifing. And sometimes you just
Hmm.
don't
Yes,
want to feel good about things. You're just not there. You're not in that space. And
that's
that's
right.
real too and needs to be acknowledged.
Yes,
However, when we give time to, or energy, should I say, if we focus energy on more of the positive, um, more of the giving, the happier um, aspects of our life, we then open, we tend to sort of have more of a positive attitude towards
Yes.
even the things that
Yes.
aren't so great, and I've done that myself. I do these things where every so often where I say, right, for 30 days I'm going to see the beauty in everything.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So for
That's
30
right.
days of beauty. And it's interesting because after the 30 days, you just see more and more and more. It's like you've rewired your brain to
Yes.
receive and see more of what's beautiful out there, and
Yes.
it's try it, people, try 30 days of seeing the beauty out there in the world and really note it down, and
That's
see what
right.
happens after the 30 days. It's
Yes.
amazing. So,
Yeah.
Shannon, how do you help women understand that 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 what's happening within their bodies affects them, affects their skin, affects their health in general? How do you connect the maybe the inner stuff with the external stuff? How do you explain that to them?
Well, I think that's part of the physical part.
Mm-hmm.
If you treat your body well, then it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna, treat you well.
Yeah.
And so it's just a matter of uh, just showing them evidence that, when you
Yeah.
move your body, when you take care of yourself, um, there's scientific evidence that shows that, you can actually not stop aging, but you can kind of slow it down,
Mm-hmm.
just by
Mm-hmm.
the foods that you eat,
Mm-hmm.
you know, uh, and just your overall attitude and mindset,
Yeah.
and so I know that for a long time, it was thought that, you have to do all this cardio to be healthy and stay slim. But studies now show that strength training, building muscle is one of the keys to longevity and aging
Yeah.
vibrantly. Because
Yeah.
when you think about it, as we get older, I think from the age 30, we start to lose muscle mass. I
Yeah.
want to say maybe like, is it 2 or 3% a year or something like that?
Yeah.
Um, we lose muscle mass. And so by the time we get into our 50s and 60s, we're weaker, we're not as toned. And that's where I think we start breaking down our bodies because we're frail and, we're susceptible to falls and things like that. So it's really just showing through example, get out there, move your body, challenge your
Mm.
body, lift weights, start off small, you don't have to start off with these, 20-pound weights. Start off with a 2 or 3 pound weight, and work your
Absolutely.
way up,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, definitely. It's
Mm,
interesting you say about the cardio, and just doing miles and miles and hours and
mm,
hours of cardio.
yeah,
It's not sustainable, number one.
right.
Number two, it just doesn't feel good. It just
It's
doesn't.
breaking your body down really,
It's
like, when it comes to like running,
Yeah.
um, you're just tearing your joints apart,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it's just not, like you said, it's not sustainable at all.
Yeah.
It's not.
And you can, if we're talking about calorie burning, a
Hmm.
good session in the gym lifting weights is
It's going to
just
burn
as effective.
calories.
It's gonna
Yes.
burn
It's
calories.
going to burn that fat, baby.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
gonna
it
work your
will.
cardiovascular system too.
Mhm.
you know,
Right.
it's truly, that's my favorite way of moving my body is going to the gym,
Mhm.
and lifting weights. Um,
Yes. Oh, I
and
love going to the gym.
I know, girl, I seen you.
You know
I've
what? I'm working on I'm gonna get some more videos for y'all of me working out, but I love working out. I mean,
mm,
you can ask my daughter, like I'll fuss and complain about going and she's like, "Mom, go." And then
yeah,
when I go, I'm so happy that I went, And so it's all about mindset. And going back to what you said about
mm,
things aren't going to be perfect, it's not going to be, a walk in the park, and it's not about ignoring it. It's about sitting in it and acknowledging it, but pushing through it.
Yeah.
not ignoring it. And so, ladies, there's going to be moments where you're not going to feel like getting up and working out and pushing your body, or you're not going to feel like, you know, making that eating that roasted chicken as opposed to just grabbing something from that fast food place down the street, some fish and chips, or, you know, some hot wings or something like that. But, you have to just push through the craving or the desire to just fall back into what got you to where you are now, um,
Mm-hmm.
and just do it. Just do it.
I think
You'll feel
it's,
so much better about yourself.
yeah, I think you really need to find your why. Your why
Yes.
is it you why is it you want to do this and really commit to that why, you know?
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
that's for me, because I'm a woman's holistic wellness practitioner, and some people think, because we do what we do, we don't have our own personal issues, you know.
Right. Like we have all the answers. No,
No,
ma'am. We don't have all
no,
the
ma'am. No.
No.
And it is difficult. I have a sweet tooth. All
Mm,
right.
yes.
I have a sweet tooth, and it is so hard for me to, monitor my I love chocolates.
Yes. Dark
I
chocolate. I love dark
Oh,
chocolate.
chocolate, and what I
Mhm.
found though is just creating substitutes to help with that. So you don't need to just let go of everything. You might want to look into healthier options, right? So for
Yes.
me, with my sweet tooth, you talk about dark chocolate. So I like to have a lot of dark chocolate with
Hmm.
nuts. And mind you, it is 100% dark chocolate. So you're not going to get that sweetness, but you still
Hmm.
get that chocolatey thing. And you also psychologically, when I
Yes.
put chocolate and nuts together, I think, ooh, it's a nice little chocolate bar that I've made here.
Well,
But
you
it's
know what, Alicia? That dark chocolate has antioxidants in it, and those nuts
absolutely,
have those healthy fats,
yeah,
you know?
is
So listen.
exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
so it's not about sort of depriving yourself of things. It's maybe about looking at sort of better options,
Mhm.
alternatives, and I think
Mhm.
making your own food,
Yeah.
treats, your little treats. If you make them at home, that in itself is just a big step, isn't it?
It's
Rather,
always better. Yeah.
mhm,
Because you know what's going into it, and
exactly.
you're infusing it with your love and
Hmm.
your why. I'm
Exactly.
really into energy, and I don't want just anybody preparing my food,
Exactly.
and you just have to really just be intentional with how you
Mm.
want to nourish your body. And like you said, it doesn't mean you can't have that sweet treat, but what are you going to offset it with? Or say that you do want something sweet. What I do is I'll make a smoothie. I'll make a
Mm.
fruit smoothie, and I'll put a
Mm.
little protein in it, and
Yeah.
that will satisfy my sweet tooth, you
Yeah.
know. But sometimes I'm not gonna lie, I'm a sucker for some Reese's peanut butter cups,
Look.
and so I'll eat the pack. I'm not gonna lie, I eat both of them. But I make sure that, I'll follow up with I'm drinking my water, I'm moving my body. We're not
Mm.
about condemning ourselves,
Oh,
ladies. We're
absolutely not.
Yeah, we're this journey is all about self-love and
Mm.
loving on yourself, not depriving yourself, but knowing that you are worth the time and the effort that it takes to be healthy,
Mm.
and just, go from there. Little baby steps.
Yeah, and sometimes, it might be you figure out that you have a ratio of 90% of what you eat is healthy, and then you have room for that
Yes.
10% where you just say, you know what, this I will this is for me, and I will eat whatever I want, because I think deprivation as well can cause a bit of an issue.
It can
Um,
cause anxiety,
yeah,
and then you end up kind of just falling off completely. But I call it the
mm,
80/20 rule. The
80
80/20
20.
rule. Like
Absolutely. Yeah.
80% of the time, you're doing the healthy thing, and then
Hmm.
20%, you might you might crave that burger or fries, but what I've started doing is I'll substitute the ground beef for the ground turkey, and I'll make turkey burgers at home, and I'll cut up
Mm.
my own fries and I'll cook them. And it's my take on burger and fries. It's not the all the salt and the preservatives and all of that stuff. And then I make sure that I have the lettuce and the tomato and the red onion and
Mm.
everything. So yeah, I call it the 80/20 rule. We can't be
Definitely.
depriving ourselves, girl. We
Absolutely
have to
not.
live this life.
Yeah, yeah. And the Chinese have in TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, they have a aspect or a pillar in that
Hmm.
healing system where you actually have to do that. You have to just enjoy joy. I
Yes.
think the word actually, I cannot remember the word, but I think the actual uh, word means joy. The Chinese
It's
word means joy. And
okay.
it's about, just doing what brings you joy, you
So
know.
I know that there's a book that I suggest, your listeners to read is called, is it Ikigai? And I know
Yes,
I
yeah.
want to say is that it's either Chinese or
That's
Japanese.
Japanese. Yeah, that's
Yes,
Japanese. Yeah.
but it's talking about, yes, finding your joy, and it,
Hmm.
it it breaks it down into different chapters of
Hmm.
basically finding your purpose, your why, and what brings you joy, and that
Yeah,
is what a fulfilling life is all about. you know
absolutely. Yeah,
hmm
yeah. Um, okay, girl. Oh, I'm loving
hmm
this. Thank you
Me
for,
too.
for sharing that. Okay, let's talk about your self-love guide. Um, you offer a complimentary self-love guide as a starting point for women's transformation. What's
Yes.
one truth about self-love that you wish every woman could fully understand?
One truth about self-love that I wish every woman would understand is that she is enough.
Mm.
She is enough. Everything that she needs is within her.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I truly believe in my spiritual journey. I feel like the woman, we are the universe. Because listen, if it wasn't for a woman, none of us would be here, you know? And
Mm.
so I feel like stop letting society make you feel like there is something missing. Everything that
Mm.
you need is within you. You just need to tap
Absolutely.
into it.
Hmm.
In this patriarchal society,
Oh, girl.
um, girl, we've been brainwashed to believe that first of all, that we need a man. Now, having a man is a good thing, but
Hmm.
you don't, you want one, but you don't necessarily need one to live a
Hmm.
happy life.
That's
You
right.
know,
Hmm.
that is the cherry on top. But society has us to believe that you have to be a certain size, or
Hmm.
you have to stay young forever, or you have to look a certain way, you have to drive a certain car, um,
Hmm.
and none of that really matters in the grand scheme of things. You have to be happy with yourself, and when you start to go within, and like I said, realize that everything that you could ever need is within you.
Hmm.
That is the starting point. That's the foundation right there. That mindset
Yeah,
is the foundation. Don't let them
absolutely.
do this Jedi mind trick on you.
Oh, yeah. Again, I totally agree with you. But what age did
Hmm.
you come to that understanding?
Well, it's really hard for me to pinpoint an age. I can tell you when the journey for me started.
Mm.
Um, After I had my daughter. And
Mhm.
so she turned 15 in October.
Yeah.
And I realized looking at her when she was a baby, I had a son before her, he's 20.
Mm.
And so when we got pregnant with her, I was thinking I was going to have another boy. It's going to be easy. And when they told us that we were going to have a little girl, I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do with the little girl? Because I mean, I was clueless because unfortunately, you have women that are jealous of their daughters, you
Mm.
know, And because, women, it's like we're competitive and comparative. And so
Yes.
we're always competing for, that male attention, or
Right.
we want to be the baddest,
Mm-hmm.
bee in the world, and we want all the attention.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I had her, I had to really sit down and think about what type of relationship I wanted with my daughter. And I was like, she's going to be watching me and listening.
Mm-hmm.
And what type of example do I want to be for her? And that's where the journey started. And
Okay.
then just over time, I just started to evolve. And I think the catalyst that really gave me my breakthrough
Mm.
was when her father and I we separated.
Right.
And we had to move back in with my mom, and
Mm-hmm.
just going through the changes of that and everything. And that's when I really had to sit down and dig deep,
Mm.
because now here I am, this woman, single woman with kids, and I
Mm.
have this little girl that's looking at me. And that's when the work really really started. But I would say probably, in my late uh, when in my late 40s is when it just kind of hit me hard, is when I was like, okay, I really need to stop, playing now. I really need to get in there and do this work, you know. And so I would say that if I had to put an age on it. But that in and of itself is telling you that it's never too late. It's never too
All
late
right.
to start your
Sure.
journey, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's important to hear, especially as women, that,
Mhm.
we go through this life, we come into this life, we're little girls, um, and we are bombarded with what society wants us to be or what society thinks we should be.
Yes.
Um, and I feel like we're in constant conflict with that, or I feel like we become this male identified person, because it is a
Yes.
patriarch, isn't it? We are in a
Yes.
patriarch. And for women in a patriarch, it's almost like we have to sort of become a male brain,
We have
you
to take
know?
on that role, that
Yeah,
energy.
we
Hmm.
do. And in how we look at ourselves and how we look at each other. I'm constantly telling women, we should be nurturing each other. We should be, supporting each other. This is what this is about. Really, what I'm
Yes.
doing today. It's about nurturing. It's about supporting. It's about encouraging. But we seem to have conflict with that sometimes. And I think it is rooted in the male identified people that we can be sometimes,
Hmm.
or the mindset that we can have sometimes because of the patriarchy that we're in. It's
Hmm.
natural. I'm not condemning, I'm not saying it's wrong.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
saying it's just how it is right now. Okay, because of how the world that we've been born into. It doesn't
Yeah.
surprise me that women feel like they have to be in competition with other women. It doesn't surprise me that women are not happy with how they look. They're constantly
Hmm.
having to change and rearrange and add things on and take things off. There's nothing wrong with taking care of yourself. But
Hmm.
who are we doing it for and why?
Right. Well, I grew up with a single mom,
Yeah.
and she didn't get married. She didn't remarry until I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And so after she remarried, her husband was in the Air Force. And, we traveled around, a little bit after that. But watching her, growing up, watching her, um, well, let me back up a little bit. When I was first born, I lived with my grandparents. And then after I moved back home with my mom, she was a single mother. And watching her um, in survival mode, it's
Mm,
kind of like going back to what I was saying, my daughter's watching me. And
yeah.
I grew up watching a lot of strong Black women
Yeah.
take on the mother and the father role.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so, and so you're just kind of you just kind of are raised in that, and then that's how you feel you have to be. And unfortunately, there are a lot of single women that have kids, and we are forced to be more in our masculine energy because, you know,
Mm-hmm.
we all have masculine and feminine energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, you know, sometimes, you know, the way the cards are dealt, you know, you have to operate in that masculine a lot. But
Mm,
somewhere along the line, we forgot that we too are women,
that's right.
you know, and that's when you have to take off that masculine hat and fall into your femininity,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And so that's a lifelong journey in and of itself, because I think patriarchy is here, you know, to stay. I'm not trying to dismantle.
I don't know if it's here to stay. I think maybe
Well,
we can there is room for I don't know.
well, okay, let me rephrase that. That patriarchy will always be around because there will
Mm-hmm.
always be that male trying to dominate,
Dominate. Mm-hmm.
you know. But we as women, we have got to learn how to navigate, you know, in that arena, but not forget who we are as women
Mm-hmm.
first. You know, women and mothers and wives, and, you know, but first and foremost, we're women,
That's right.
you know, and I don't want to be a man.
No.
You know, you know, now that I'm on this journey and I'm doing this work, you
Mm-hmm.
know, there's nothing more refreshing and, you know, than being a woman that is just operating in her femininity. But one thing that I'm learning is that, you know, even though it's, you know, we've come a long way, I don't know if society's really ready for a woman to really, um, you know, be in her feminine energy. I think it kind of makes some people uncomfortable, you know, and that's, you know, we still have a lot of work to do, because going back to what you said about we should be supporting each other,
Mm-hmm.
encouraging each other, uplifting each other.
Mm-hmm.
But then, you know, if a woman is not secure in her feminine energy, she's going to look at a woman that is and feel some kind of way,
You feel some kind of way. Yeah.
feel some kind of way. And so my hope is that, you know, I could just show women that there is no competition. Just love on yourself. And, you know, by you loving yourself, you're automatically gonna love your sister because you love yourself. We are one. You know,
Yeah.
you are me, I am you. And if I'm, you know, hating on you, I'm hating on myself.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. I think there's a breaking down that
Mhm.
women may have to go through. We need to dismantle ourselves and build ourselves back up to be
Yeah.
that feminine, that divine feminine. Because I think a
Mhm.
lot of us, I'll speak. I can't speak for everybody, but
Mhm.
I feel
Yeah.
like we're functioning this toxic femininity and toxic
Yes.
masculinity, and I think we
Mhm.
need to break that down in order to build up this divine feminine that resides in all of us that's waiting to shine. And it does look like supporting your sister. It does look like nurturing your sister. It does look like not being in competition with your sister. It does look like,
Mhm.
looking at your older sister and taking words of wisdom from her. It does look
Yes.
like wanting to be healthy rather than focused on trying to be looking younger or being
Right.
younger. It looks very, now that I'm falling into that space, I've had to do a lot of dismantling of myself, uh,
Uh-huh.
to build myself up and really understand that to be in my divine feminine, I have to, like you said, I have to learn to look at my sisters with love.
Yes. And you know, and that looks different for every woman. You know, your
And it
divine
looks
feminine
different.
looks different
Mm-hmm.
for every, because you know, I've come across you know, women in pages, and you know, you know, they're always wearing sundresses, you know,
Yeah.
all the time, or they're, you know, they're really tapped in, their idea of being tapped into their femininity is, you know, maybe dressing a certain way or acting a certain way, or they're against waxing their underarms, or
Yeah, yeah,
wearing makeup, or they go to the other extreme to where they're half dressed on social media because they're tapped into their divine femininity. And if that works for you, that works for you, but that's not necessarily my how I view it.
yeah,
That's not my definition of divine, of that's not how I embody my divine femininity. And
absolutely
so yeah, and so it's not wrong. It's just that it's different for
different.
everybody. But I think that we're so quick to judge because it doesn't look the way that we think it should look.
Mm-hmm.
And we have got to really just, stop judging each other. And, I don't want to say we're broken, because we're not broken. I think we're just disconnected,
Right,
you know, and it's about breaking down
that's
the systemic
right.
um, ideas of what it's supposed to be like,
Mm-hmm.
and to rebuild that back up to your, your own unique blueprint,
That's right.
you know.
Self-agency.
Yes, yes, yes. And
Self-agency. Mm-hmm.
yes. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to, to look as, look vibrant and healthy, and, you know, um, just the best that you can look in your way.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I consider myself a very feminine woman, but I live in tracksuits and trainers all day.
Uh-huh.
Someone would
Yeah.
look at me and think, oh, I'm not very
But it's all
feminine.
about energy,
But it's,
right?
well, there you go. But I am a very feminine woman. My energy is feminine. How can I not be? Look at, I am a woman. I
Yes.
was born into this as a feminine being. We, like you said, we've got masculine and feminine, but I've really connected to my as I said, my divine, not just my divine feminine, where it
Mhm.
doesn't really matter how I look as long as I know what I'm
Yes,
doing. Do you
that's
understand?
right.
As long as
Yes.
I have self agency, how it shows up is how it shows up. And I mean, I so agree with you when you say, we really need to not judge
Hmm.
each other. You know, for
Hmm.
me, I
Yeah.
want to see women thrive, you know?
Same here. And let me ask you a question,
Mhm.
because have you ever noticed where you'll see a woman that has on a beautiful dress, heels, makeup, but it's like she's not feminine. I've seen that, where I've seen a woman that just because you put on makeup, your hair is done, you have on a nice dress and heels, everything that society deems as feminine, but because your energy is masculine, you still
Mhm.
come across as masculine.
It's
So, going back,
performative.
it's performative. And so going back to what you're saying,
Mhm. Mhm.
I could wear leggings, tracksuits, tennis shoes, or jeans and a t-shirt and still be in my feminine energy, because that is the energy that I am embodying at that
Very
moment.
exuberant.
Exactly.
That's what you're
So,
radiating from your being.
yes, from
And I've
within.
always seen that in you. You have a
Thank
feminine, you
you.
do have a feminine energy. I feel, I mean, I think the last time I saw you was years ago, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah, we went for, was it, did we go for coffee, or where was it?
No, we had tea. We
Atlantic
went to a tea
Station.
shop. Yeah, we went to a tea
Yes,
shop, girl. We had good quality tea.
I know. Yes.
And you have this beautiful energy. I love your energy. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
I'm just really happy with what you're doing. I'm really happy with what you're doing. And this is the work that we need to do.
Yeah.
Have these kind of, because this is wellness. It
Yes,
might not sound like it, but it is.
it
This is
is.
wellness. To have self agency is wellness,
Yes,
the
it is.
epitome of it.
Mhm.
To be able to nurture each other and appreciate each other is wellness. I think I did a video, an episode on women and community. You know,
Uh-huh.
that
That's
as
wellness.
that is,
Yeah.
look, it is, if we're talking
Yeah.
about doing what is biologically, um what we are, we are people of, we are women are a creature of community
Community,
and
yes.
gathering and connectedness. You know,
Yeah.
they show when a woman has a support, she
Mhm.
thrives. So
Yes.
this conversation, people, is not just me and Shannon sitting here talking about, the patriarchy and whatever. No, we're talking, this is all wellness. This is all
Yeah.
women's wellness. Okay. And it
Yes.
is important that we really sort of look at ourselves and say, am who who am I doing this for? Am I wearing this dress for me? Or am I
Mhm.
wearing this dress because this is what's seen as feminine? Like you said,
Right.
you can put
Mm-hmm.
on a dress, but are you really in your feminine energy? Are you
Mm-hmm. That's
really in self agency?
yes, it's more. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, 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 no. Go on, go on. This is
Well,
about
I
you.
was just gonna say, it's more than the outward appearance, like I was like when we started out, it's more than just your skincare. You can get
Mm.
all the microderm, the peels, the makeup,
Mm-hmm.
all of that you want. But if you have not embodied it, or if you are not doing the work, it's
Mm.
temporary and it's performative, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And we owe it to ourselves as women. We owe it to the next generation, our children, each other, you know, to walk in our truth, because I truly believe that that is how we heal. They say that when a woman heals, she is healing 7 generations before her and 7 generations after her. And
Facts.
so, yes. And so, my prayer, girl, I don't want my daughter to have to suffer, or my son to have to suffer through some of the things that I suffered through because of the wounds, that were
Mm.
inflicted on me in my childhood because of the wounded adults that were taking care of me,
Mm.
and bless their hearts. I'm not blaming them, because they did the best that they could. I forgave my mother a long time ago because she
Yeah,
did what she could with what she had.
yeah.
But it is up to us to do the work, to heal, because I really do believe that once we do that, this world would be a better place. And I know it sounds frou frou, but it is so, I know it does, but it is so true. And I really
It's
do
true.
believe that the men in this world, they don't even know. Um, men are creatures of habit.
Mm.
They might seem like they're in charge of the world, but they don't really know. I feel like they learn from us, you
Yeah,
know,
they do.
and once we start to just walk in our truth and not worry about what they think, and,
Yo,
I think change is inevitable.
yeah. Well, this is how powerful women are.
Yes,
I
that
think we don't
too.
understand how
Yeah,
influence we actually do have
we
over
do.
women. Just on a if you look on it just on a biological, level, men, a big part of their desire for those that are straight, they want women.
And
Now,
even the ones that
how
aren't straight, they want to be like
they want
us.
to be, yeah, exactly, or around us. So,
Right. Sucking up that energy, you
right. So
know?
our energy is very powerful. And ladies, I mean, I will speak for myself. I personally believe when we have pulled ourselves together as women, you watch what the men do. When we
Yes.
really step into our divine feminine, see what the
Hmm.
men do. They will
That's
be,
right.
they will have to, they will be called to step
Yes.
into their divine masculine, the
That's right.
expression of divine masculine. They
Yes.
will have to. It just is what it is. But currently, I think we're going through this weird transition. When you
Hmm.
said, oh, we're in a patriarchy and you feel like it's going to be around for a while
Uh-huh.
or forever. I
Hmm.
feel like we're going through this energetic struggle right now of
Hmm.
those two energies. And so when I look at what's happening in the world right now, especially with these like hate to say it, gender issues. I'm not going to say gender war, gender issues that we might be having, male, females, you're doing
Yeah.
this, you're doing that, the back and forth nonsense
Mm-hmm.
that's out there. I think that's something that actually needs to be done. We need to start speaking about what it is that we really want from each other, what women want from men, what men want from women. But we have to work on ourselves first. We have to dismantle the toxicity within
It starts
first,
there. It starts within. It starts with us.
right?
It starts with, we can't expect someone to change. That's silly to try to control someone else's journey on what they need to do
Mm,
when we don't even have control of our own selves,
right.
and so it all starts with us, with each individual um, person. Who is that? Did Gandhi say, be the change that you wish to see in the
Um,
world?
I don't
We've
know.
got to start. I know it's
Thought
a
that was
quote.
Michael Jackson.
I
No,
know somebody said it.
he
But
said it starts with the man in the mirror.
that too, the man in the mirror. Yes, the man in the mirror. It starts with each of us. And if we would each just do our part, we would have, this world would be such a better place. There wouldn't be any hunger, homelessness, just all this mental illness. I really do feel is just from just being disconnected. Now I know that there are some people that have, chemical imbalances and things
Of
like that.
course.
But what I mean is the compassion. Where's the compassion?
Mm,
It's just it's like each person for themselves, and it's just really heartbreaking.
yeah. And especially where we are now, socially,
Yeah.
politically,
Yes, we're
so
divided.
yeah, so much division out there, so
Mhm.
much, and that is a massive. I'm not even going to go down that road, but we
Yeah,
could go down a whole
that's
different road. We're not going
another
to go
right.
down that road. Let's stay right where we are.
Right, right.
Okay. Okay, so if you could finally, if you could leave what other, oh, excuse me, if you could leave our listeners with one message to help them reconnect with their inner glow, mind, body, and spirit, what would it be?
That's a good question. Um, what would it be? I would say, and it sounds simple,
Mm,
but love yourself, love yourself,
mm,
love yourself. Just going back to just that mindset, you know, um, take the time to um, love on yourself,
yeah.
change that mindset of, limiting beliefs and lack and feelings of unworthiness. Like I said before, you are enough, you are worthy, and
Mm,
your journey is your journey. Take one small step at a time,
yeah.
one small step at a time, and it'll be okay. Just don't quit.
Yeah.
Don't quit. Keep going. And I don't know, I hope that resonates, with your listeners. It really does begin with you starting to love on you. You have to take care of yourself first.
Definitely. I'm in alignment with that. Um, I don't know. When I think of love, I think of understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Like learn to understand yourself. It's almost like if you've got like a goldfish and you can love the goldfish and you'll be like, oh, I love my goldfish. Let me pick it up and cuddle it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
So you love
Right.
it so much, you cuddle it. But if you understand what that goldfish needs, then you can
Mm-hmm.
truly love on it, can't you? because you can
That's
give it
right.
what it needs.
Mm,
And I agree with you in that. Love on yourself, understand yourself, learn yourself, or create yourself,
yes,
right?
yes, yes, yes. Because we can't love anyone else if we're not loving ourselves first,
Yeah.
you know. And it really is true. It really is true because all of this hate in the world, and this division, if you really loved yourself, you don't have the time to hate someone else, because,
Mm.
you know, we're all in this universe together. We all want the same fundamental um, things, food, shelter. We want to be healthy, loved.
Mm.
We want our kids to be happy and healthy, and so,
Absolutely.
concentrate on you and you loving yourself because everything else will take care of itself. We can't save the world without saving ourselves first.
Absolutely agree. I totally agree.
So,
And Cree Summer has a song called Save Yourself. If you don't know who
oh,
Cree Summer is,
I do.
you do?
From a different world.
Yeah. She's got a
Okay.
beautiful song called Save Yourself. And it is just what you're speaking of, guys. So Google it. Listen to that
I'm gonna
song.
have to
It's
check her out.
amazing. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Alicia.
you, girl. Thank you so much for giving me your time. I love this conversation. Thank you for being so open,
Thank
and
you.
just sharing, this beautiful. Thank you. And hopefully you can come on again one day.
Most definitely. I would love to. I would love to because the journey is always evolving.
Always, always gonna be here.
So
The journey always gonna be here.
yes, it's always going to be here. So there's
As long
always
as the
something.
sun keeps shining, it will be here.
That's
Okay.
right.
Okay, so I like to end with some journal prompts, or today I've only got one journal prompt for everybody. All right, so today's journal prompt, let me put my glasses on. Today's journal prompt is: where in my life am I dimming my own glow? And what would it look like practically, emotionally, spiritually if I allowed myself to shine fully without holding back?
Ooh, I love that.
Okay. If you need to hear it again, just rewind and listen again and journal that, guys. And feel free to share if you want to in the comments. That would be lovely. But Shannon, thank you, darling. Thank you so much. And this is the end of the Wellness Seat. Thank you, guys.
Bye. Bye, guys.